Hi everyone, welcome. It's Friday. It is the last week of our reset program. And in some ways, I guess it's not the end of it because, we hope that for you, there's been some things that you've learned about yourself and learned about some routines that maybe you can continue and apply after the reset program. We're always here, for you guys to ask any questions. But yeah, I hope that you've taken something away from this in how you have looked at your health, how you've experimented with different foods, different fruits, different vegetables, how have the smoothies fitted into your lifestyle? Have they helped you in keeping to some sort of a routine? Have they been convenient for you at times when you may have made a bad choice, but you've decided to go a smoothie? Have you used the tea for some relaxation of an evening? Have you introduced those greens to add some of those more greens into your diet when you have had a day where you probably didn't have as many? So they're there for support, okay? So I hope that you've applied them. I hope that you can continue to apply them and eat lots of beautiful, healthy food that is good for you. We spoke a little bit last week about our prebiotics and how they feed your probiotics. So lots of beautiful vegetables. Make your variety wide. Try different things because that's different food for your gut as well, and that is going to help you. It might take you a little bit of time, but it will help with any gut issues as well. So just think about trying different things and keep that in the forefront of your mind with your foods. And making those little changes also helps you to make other changes, when you start to open up to different things. All right, so what I wanted to talk to you about today was a bit more about food. So I'm going to talk to you about this particular dish only because I used it this week to help me to avoid having gluten. All right, so my family this week wanted some pasta with some meatballs and sauce, and I didn't want the pasta, so I decided to opt for something else. Now, so I just came across it because I had some leftover pumpkin in the fridge, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to put the sauce on the pumpkin and give that a go. And I didn't actually expect it to be great. And I was surprised how good it actually was. The flavour from the pumpkin, I think because pumpkin's a little bit sweet. I don't know what it was, but the combination together actually really, really worked well. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. So it's something I'll definitely be doing again. And I want to introduce you to other different bases that you can have to avoid having that pasta if you don't want to have it. All right, so there are other options. But I'm going to go back a step and give you a little bit of insight into my sauce that I make. So this is a traditional staple in our food, in my growing up years that my mum always made, which was the pasta. She actually home makes her pasta, not all of it, but if it's spaghetti, lasagna, she actually makes it all tagliatelle. She does it all herself. And she also made her own sauce, which is a tradition that I have continued with my family. So we make our own bottled sauce. So this was this year's that we did. And we store them in, we've still got the old beer bottles that we recycle and use, and these ones. So we make two different varieties. We make a ready-made style sauce, which is a two times cooking process. But the more traditional one that I've always made with mum was just being cooked once. So just to give you a brief rundown, we'd get some beautiful Roma tomatoes. We cut them in half. We always get rid of the end bits of it, the little white bits that are on the end. And it goes through a process, through a machine that gets rid of the seeds and the skin, and all the juice of that tomato goes through into a big, drum that we have. And from there, we bottle the sauce and we seal it. Or we add a bit of salt. So we actually add salt to the sauce and then we seal it. And then we cook it in these really big drums with fire. Or these days we're using just gas fires. And we bring it to the boil. We fill it up with water. We put lots of sacks on there, like potato sacks on there, or towels you can do. And then it boils, and then it actually seals it, sterilizes it. Keeps it from going bad, I guess. And yeah, it works, always worked 100%. So these bottles will last, they can last up to a couple of years. We get through them over a year. And then, well, that way we've got sauce at our disposal anytime, and it's the best way of having it. It's just beautiful. There is good sauce out there as well if you have to buy it, so that's fine. So I always use about a couple of the bottles of sauce. I saute some onion in the pot. I always add a lot of basil, add the 2 bottles of sauce, and then I add carrots. So I always put, onions, I always put some carrots in there, and the carrots actually give off a really nice sweet flavour into the sauce. I've heard of people putting sugar and things like that in their sauce, but the carrots actually do the job. So I always can tell the difference if I haven't put them in. And I'll put I put about 3 carrots in there. And I'll put lots of basil in there. I season it with some more salt, because normally the salt that we put when we do the sauce is just enough, just minimal. And then we can season it further. And then you can add some further herbs, spices, whatever you like. You can add capsicum in there if you want to give it that different flavour to it. But that's your basic sauce. And then my mum always added a good squirt of olive oil, like a fair amount. Like she loves her olive oil and extra virgin olive oil. And I do add the olive oil as well, because it does help the sauce to stick to the pasta as well. When I say how much, I just sort of do that, and that's how much I'll put in there. So, and then we add our meatballs. So meatballs are made, you can make them with beef and pork together, or you can just do beef. I generally just do beef. I add to 500 grams of meat, I'll add 2 eggs and say a palmful of breadcrumbs, gluten-free. If you're going gluten-free, that's fine. Add your salt, parsley, and Parmesan cheese. If you like that, again, that's optional. And then you just roll them up into nice little meatballs. We call them polpetti. And when we put the sauce on to boil, once the sauce is boiled, we put the meatballs in raw, okay? We don't seal them prior. A lot of recipes say to seal them, we don't do that. We put them in raw, and we find that the sauce goes through the meatball. And sometimes you can put little pork sausages in there as well. You don't have to put any meat. If you're vegetarian, don't do any of it. But yeah, so we put all that in there, and we let it simmer and cook for about an hour, probably more, an hour and a half. And that's when the sauce really, builds up its flavour, and it's just beautiful in the end. So, yeah, that's what we do. So going back to other options instead of pasta, you can use, so this was what I did. This was the pumpkin. I just cut it up into little cubes like that, and then I've got some sauce here actually, and I haven't had my dinner yet, so. And I just put the sauce on top like that with the meatballs. There's a sausage there as well. Sometimes, like the other night, I actually put some osso buco. That's what I put in there. And osso buco is just a beef. It just fell off the bone. It was so tender and beautiful. So you can do that. You can put chicken. You can do whatever you want. And depending on whether you've cut dairy out or not, but if you haven't, then you can just add some really beautiful Parmesan. Grana Padano is what I use, and you know what? It works. It actually works, and you haven't had pasta. You've opted for a vegetable instead, and I just think that's a better option for you sometimes, rather than having white pasta, because it is highly processed. And it's just another option. Like, I'm not saying not to have it, but it's another option, okay? From if you've had it before, you can try something different. Other things that you can try, what my husband Lee just had, he mashed up some potato, and he put the sauce on that. So that's what he ended up having, and then he squashed his meatballs in there, beautiful Parmesan cheese, so he's done. Another option is quinoa. You can actually put it on some quinoa if you like. Another option is some millet. I cooked this a little while ago, so it's cooled off now. But millet can actually works as well. It sort of gives off a little bit like a polenta consistency. Again, they're gluten-free options. All right, so you can add that to your food. Yeah, so just wanted you to be creative with your bases as well. You don't have to go what we traditionally know that you have with sauce. There's other options, all right? So I hope that helps in, you know, some other gluten-free options that you can have, and and lots of nutrition in that sauce. A lot of good vitamins and minerals from the tomatoes. There's no seeds, there's no skin in there. And tomatoes is one of those foods that when you do cook it for long periods, it doesn't lose that quality. So it's actually one of those foods that actually goes good when you cook it for a long time. So it's a good food to have. Yeah, so enjoy. I hope that's opened up your mind a little bit more. Maybe think back on, you know, things that you've traditionally grown up with, and if it's something that's, you know, you're veering away from, there could be an element of it that you can reintroduce into your diet. So just, you know, open your mind up, think of other options. Yeah, but I just wanted to share that with you. I hope that you enjoy the rest of the week, and yeah, please continue with all those good habits that you've formed and some good routines that you've explored, and enjoy. Yeah, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your night.